Hello everyone. If you are new to my channel, my name is Rihanna Johnson. Last week I took a small hiatus, so this week I am back on to it. Going into August and maybe throughout the month of August, I may be in and out on YouTube, just for the simple fact that I have a lot of exciting life changes happening this month. So please forgive me if I am not rolling out videos as weekly as I usually do, but I will say that as the messages come in and as I feel the need to deliver any messages around this time or moving forward throughout the month of August, I will definitely continue to roll those out. But I just wanted to give a heads up that this month may be a little choppy as far as my videos. But once I'm settled with everything that I have going on, I will definitely be back on track when it comes to the weekly videos. Now, moving forward, this week is going to be focusing on sovereignty, and more so spiritual sovereignty, and how we can further cultivate that in our lives, especially around the time where there's a lot of political upheaval and elections and all that kind of stuff. I think this would be very, very beneficial to everyone that is able to vote or whatever it is. We're not going to focus on that specifically. So let's begin, and I hope your day is well. Thank you for joining my video. Please like, share, comment, subscribe so that we can get more people onto this channel and get the messages going out to the people that need to hear them. I really appreciate that. So we're going to go ahead and begin with what sovereignty is. If you don't know, it's just the state of being free from others' controls and just being in a state of being in alignment with your own judgment, your own higher self, especially on a spiritual aspect. And ways that we kind of participate in being controlled could be jobs, political views, governments, religious beliefs that don't really serve our higher selves, along with relationships that tend to hinder our growth, whether romantic or platonic. And then, mind you, I have my notes, so if you see me looking down, that's why. If I'm being fully transparent, this has definitely come up for me lately with sovereignty. As I'm walking my own path, I see and I feel that there is a slight fear when it comes to this, for the simple fact that when you really think about it, from birth, we are in a state of being controlled by different things, whether it's parents, of other authoritative figures, you know, in that aspect. And so with me being aware that I'm walking my own path and continuing to educate myself on things that I believe to be true, it will seem like you are alone and that you are kind of pulling things from the ether to make your own world or worldly beliefs that you believe and that you follow. And with this, it can sometimes bring up fear because you are creating your own rules versus following someone else's rules, and it doesn't align with what you believe. It's really just a fear of accountability, because when it comes to sovereignty, with you creating your own rules, with you creating your own blueprint of how you are looking or seeking to live your own journey in this third dimensional state. With that, sovereignty requires a lot of accountability, and it is not easy to say, you know, if something goes left or if you took a detour in your journey, it's not easy to say, oh, I was listening to that person over there, or that person told me. No, you are going based off of your own beliefs. You are going based off your higher self. You are going based off what you believe to be true, whether that is benefiting you right here and now, or whether it's, you know, your higher self speaking to you from a different timeline, showing you the step-by-step process on how to get to a certain point or a certain timeline that you were desiring. And so although it takes a lot of courage, in which we're going to get to that as well, because I also pulled some oracle cards, and courage was the main focal point that was coming up for the oracle spread. But yeah, a lot of fear will come up, and like I said, it's just the fear of being your own authoritative figure, allowing your higher self to guide you versus seeking from other people. And I don't mean that in a stance of actual people that have experience and have been where you are trying to go, not in that aspect, but people that you just feel like, okay, I understand your journey, but your journey does not look like mine. So really just being accountable is, I think, the main fear that and I'm sure other people have experienced. But as I personally walk this journey and see that I am walking in my own power, and I am walking in my own higher self communication and journey and all this kind of stuff, I am seeing that it's not so bad. And even when it does get to a point where I feel like, okay, I don't know if I'm doing this right, I don't know if woo whatever, when you just kind of calm your mind, and even journaling and figuring out, okay, why is it fear coming up around this, it will give you a broader view or a bird's eye view of understanding, okay, I fear this because I don't know what's next. But to calm that fear, implanting something like a solution that will help you to navigate through whatever fear is coming up. I even got like a GPS kind of example to it. You're starting here, but if you don't have a end point, this space between A and B, of course, is going to look a little wonky. Of course, it's not going to be aligned. Of course, it's going to be detours, because you don't have a steady view or a steady end goal for what you were trying to achieve, if that makes sense. So also with that power and sovereignty is just knowing, where do you want to be, even if it's going as far as next week. What do you want your next week to look like? If you don't have a vision for that week, you could have detours, and that's not to say that even if you have an end goal or whatever the case is, that it's just gonna be rainbows and sunshine and all that, because even in those points of detour, if you are always looking at it as like, oh my God, why does this have to happen to me, versus looking at something as a point of, okay, that's something that I needed to learn while I'm on my way to the end goal or point B. If I'm looking at it as like a lesson, okay, I needed something out of that detour that will assist me in executing the end goal or executing point B. So it also includes a mindset as well, like really connecting with your higher self and trusting that you are acting and thinking and moving in a way that is best for your higher self and best for your growth as well. And I'm even being called to say that when you are acting in your own higher self, you are acting for your own good. It's also helping the people around, whether you see it directly or not. Because when you are acting in your higher self and for the good of yourself, you will see that it's easier to do it for everybody else. But if you are thinking of everybody else first, it's always going to be an imbalance with whatever you're trying to do or whatever you're trying to achieve. And then ways that I would say that you can reclaim this spiritual sovereignty and beginning to practice being in your own authority and really leaning on your higher self for the guidance versus, say for instance, the government or external forces that may not be suitable for your higher self, or where you were trying to go. Is connecting with that soul essence, especially when it comes to internally feeling what is right for you. I even find in doing this for myself, it feels like a toolbox in a way. And so I'm speaking internally, but like when I'm searching for an answer, or when I'm looking for the right direction, I find that closing your eyes and really just feeling in, like, say for instance, if it's like a hand or something, like feeling into that soul essence and feeling the answer, instead of trying to use logic, feel for the answer, because your higher self is always going to drop in and assist you in determining which direction is right to go. And if we're really being technical, there is no wrong way. It all just depends on whether it's a straight shot to what you're trying to do, where you're trying to go, or if you may have to take that detour we were talking about. But either way, there's still gonna be useful lessons in your journey of living a sovereign life, or just acting in a way where you are in control of your destiny, versus somebody saying, no, this is where you're gonna go, or no, this is what you're gonna do. No, my higher self, even though it looks like, yeah, left may be a straight shot, you never know. It could be an alligator sitting in the cut. You never know. So, you know what I mean? It's just really about tapping into that higher self and really tapping into that soul feeling of what is clicking for me, what makes sense for me and my higher self. Okay. And then, like I said, always taking that soul aligned action for whatever you are trying to do. If you are not a visual learner, you don't always have to resort to journaling. But for me, I find that since I am a visual learner, me writing down whatever it is that I'm trying to achieve and going from there, that helps me most. So most times I will say journaling. You don't always have to do that. Like I said, use whatever works for you and figuring out which way to go for you. But I even find that writing down, say for instance, if you have a lot of options, okay, you could even make a pros and cons list of each option. Like, okay, option A, pro and con, option B, pro and con. And that will even help you map out, like, okay, what feels right for me? Can I be okay with the cons in A, B, or C, you know, along with the pros? So even that as well would probably help you navigating the sovereign within yourself. Like I said, also entertaining the highest potential frequency. Not only seeing or acting in a way that is for harm to none, or that is like the good for all, but also yourself. You cannot do anything or act on anything if it is outside of you, if that makes sense. So what I mean by that is, if you feel, for instance, like your wellness, for instance, say if you are focused on the wellness of everybody else and you're always focused on everybody else, you are going to be in an imbalance, because you are going to be giving from an empty cup. You cannot do that. So you will fall short in anywhere. So when you start with yourself first, govern yourself first, then you will be able to act accordingly when it comes to your external world. And there was a quote that I saw on sovereignty, and it was excellent for this example. It says, knowing who and what you are is your greatest power. Nothing can influence you unless you agree to it. Nothing can influence you unless you agree to it. No external fight is necessary. Only an internal revolution can set you free. Stand in your own sovereignty. When you are strong in your mind, when you are strong in your spirit, when you are strong in your body, nothing is gonna sway you. Even if the wind is blowing 100 miles an hour, and I'm not talking about physically, but even if the wind or your world feels like it is upside down, when you are firm in your beliefs, when you are firm in your own authority and your own higher self and that connection, yes, that world may be upside down, but when you are grounded in your own being, you can allow that tornado, you can allow that whirlwind to pass over you and you be unaffected. You take the lessons and you move forward with what you were trying to do, where you were trying to go. Okay. Also, releasing old ideas and programs that no longer agree, that you no longer agree with. And this goes back to the whole religion thing. I'm not dissing anybody that is religious. I commend you for that, and I'm glad that you are following what your higher self is needing at that time. That is completely okay. But for the spiritual side of it, when you release old habits or old ideas that you internally know you do not agree with, but you are staying within that belief because it is a social